Buti hindi pa tayo makyat dun.
A 7.0 magnitude earthquake killed at least 5 people in the northern Philippines.
The shallow and powerful quake primarily struck the mountainous province of Abra on the main island of Luzon. More details on this later in the news. Good evening. I'm CJ Hero.
And I'm Nina Richie Alago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. And now for the headlines. A strong earthquake hits northern Luzon, leaving at least 5 dead and damaging infrastructure. Iglesia ni Cristo commemorates its 108th anniversary today, July 27. China warns that U.S. will bear all consequences if House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visits Taiwan. Donald Trump hits at another run for presidency in 2024. And landmarks illuminated to commemorate Iglesia ni Cristo anniversary. Heritage sites and other structures were damaged as a magnitude 7.0 earthquake hit Abra province and other parts of Luzon this morning. Residents are advised to stay alert as FIVOX warns of more aftershocks in the coming days. Ces Alvarez has the details.
A 7.0 magnitude earthquake shook the northern Philippines Wednesday morning, causing damage to infrastructure, including heritage sites in the region. The Philippine Institute for Volcanology and Seismology said the quake occurred at 8:43 a.m. with a depth of 17 kilometers. The epicenter of the shallow tremor was located in Tayum, Abra, and was also felt in Metro Manila and other parts of Luzon. In a briefing at Malacanang, FIVOX Director Undersecretary Renato Solidum said shallow earthquakes tend to cause more damage. With multiple aftershocks expected to come, people in the affected areas are advised to avoid landslide-prone areas and damaged structures.
Unang-una, sa mga lugar na may damage, magkaroon ng inspeksyon. Sa mga bahay, gusali, mga infrastruktura, lalo na sa kalsada at mga tulay. Most likely, nakita ko na yung mga pictures, marami pong landslide na mangyayari. Pwede pong may mga baradong mga kalsada at may isolated na mga lugar o mga barangay. Dapat tingnan kung paano ito magkakaroon ng access. Isipin din natin na kahit walang landslide, baka may makita sila na mga incipient landslide, may mga crack. Kasi nga, kombinasyon po ito ng lindol and pag dumating yung ulan o bagyo ay mas pwede pang magkaroon ng mga landslide kasi mauna na ang mga lupa.
Heritage sites such as old churches were heavily damaged by the strong quake. For one, the Bantay Bell Tower in Ilocos Sur almost collapsed as videos shared on social media show. Other damaged structures include the Vigan Cathedral and several houses in Vigan City, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for having preserved much of its Hispanic colonial character dating back to the 16th century. The tremor also damaged Sarat Church, the heritage building of Sarat Municipal Hall, and the Sinking Bell Tower in Lawag City, Ilocos Norte, according to Senator Amy Marcos. In addition, parts of Santa Catalina de Alejandria Parish Church in Tayum, Abra caved in after the quake. Meanwhile, as residents in Bangged, Abra rush out of their homes and office buildings, vendors and market goers in the town's public market were seen seeking refuge. Ces Alvarez reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
At least 5 people are now dead and 60 injured after a strong earthquake hit various provinces in northern Luzon. The tremor has also caused power interruptions in large part of the region. Vin Pascua reports.
Interior and Local Government Secretary Benhur Abalos has confirmed the death of 4 individuals following a strong earthquake that hit northern Luzon this morning. In a briefing at Malacanang, Abalos said the 4 fatalities were from Benguet, Abra, and Mountain Province. Based on his report, the casualty from La Trinidad Benguet was a construction worker hit by a falling debris when he tried to escape from the building he was working on. Abalos also reported the number of injuries and the structural damage of the earthquake to public and private infrastructure. The DILG chief said Regions 1, 2, and the Cordillera Administrative Region were directly hit by the tremor, the epicenter of which was located in Abra.
29 municipal roads were damaged. 3 bridges in Abra are also reported to have been damaged. 173 buildings, both private and government, were also damaged. 58 reported landslides, most of these occurred in Abra, with 31 reported landslides. 60 injured, and so far po, 4 po ang nabalita ang nasawian ng buhay, 4 deaths. Of these 4, 2 are in Benguet, 1 each in Abra and Mountain. 2 in Benguet, 1 in Abra. No?
Abalos said the DILG has already deployed police, firemen, and disaster personnel to help the local government executives in responding to the situation. The earthquake has caused mobile signal and power interruptions in Benguet and other areas. Immediately, Defense Secretary Jose Faustino convened the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. In coordination with the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, a quick response team was deployed to the affected areas to make assessments. The Office of Civil Defense has prepared relief goods for deployment apart from the pre-positioned relief goods by the Department of Social Welfare and Development.
And we already issued a directive issued to Luzon regions regarding the reiteration of response actions. The OCD also issued 2 emergency alert and warning message. We also, in coordination with PHIVOLCS, the quick response teams to be deployed for field assessment. As mentioned by the President, DSWD Secretary is already in the affected, is already in Abra for the relief assistance.
Then Pascua reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. called for an emergency briefing at Malacanang hours after a strong quake hit northern Luzon and reports of damages and casualties reached the government. The president said he plans to visit the affected areas in the next few days. Eden Santos reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is set to go to the areas hit by the powerful earthquake in northern Luzon. The president said he deferred his visit today so as not to hamper the local officials' response to the situation. Nevertheless, President Marcos asked officials from the Department of Social Welfare and Development to proceed to the affected areas immediately and report to him directly.
I am staying away from going to the affected areas for a very simple reason. It has been my experience as governor, it has been my experience in Yolanda, that when the national officers come to the affected areas, immediately na ginugulo lang namin yung trabaho ng mga lokal. Yung halimbawa, pupunta ako doon, hahanap pa ako ng police para pag-secure. Kailangan ako i-meeting ng mga local officials. Marami silang ginagawa. So I said, let them do their work. Let us wait for them to tell us what is going to be, what the true situation is. And maybe I can schedule a trip, perhaps tomorrow, as soon as possible.
Malacanang has not yet seen the need to declare a state of calamity in the affected areas. But President Marcos said they would do it after the assessment, which government agencies are busy doing right now.
Generally, ang SOP dyan, ang state of national calamity, pag apektado ang tatlong region, automatic yun. Hindi naman naapekto ng tatlo. So far, we can say that it's Region 1 and CAR. So I don't think it's necessary right now to declare a national emergency. However, depending on the information that comes back, I'm sure marami pa tayong mapabalita, marami pang informasyon na hindi pa nakarating sa atin. Baka mangyari yun. I hope not. Kasi sana limited naman dito sa Abra hanggang sa Ilocos Sur, Ilocos Norte, La Union.
The administration also said the government has acted immediately on clearing affected landslide-hit roads to make them passable again. But President Marcos is worried about a possible weather disturbance that would make the situation more difficult.
Nakatakutan namin baka umulan. And kasi siguro naluwag na there will be a great danger again of landslide. So binabantayan natin yan. Usually naman, na-identify natin kung saan yung areas of risk. So pwede nating bantayan. Huwag sanang umulan, at least for the next 2 days, para makapag-stabilize tayo ng mga, lalo na yung mga daan. Pati yung mga, para ma-inspeksyon na rin yung mga bahay, if they're safe to go back to. Pero siguro hindi pa ngayon. Dahil even if they are structurally safe to return, magkakaroon pa tayo ng aftershock. Baka doon naman ang problema. If you remember, a while back, during the earthquake in Baguio, maraming namatay kasi kala nila tapos na, pumasok sila, inabutan sila ngayon ng aftershock. So that's what we are watching out for, both in the structures and in watching the danger of landslides.
The president said he was in his office when the tremor occurred. Noticing the chandelier at Malacanang rattled, he knew that the quake was stronger than usual. Eden Santos reporting for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Enrollment in earthquake-hit areas is suspended according to the Department of Education. For the details, we have Man Corvera.
The Department of Education has suspended the enrollment and activities of all schools affected by the earthquake in northern Luzon. DepEd is also assessing the extent of the damage inflicted by the quake on schools. Education spokesman Michael Poa said school structures in Abra and Vigan either developed cracks or were seriously damaged by the quake. There are no reports of injuries among staff, faculty, and students.
We are monitoring the situation on the part of DepEd. Meron tayong initial reports ng cracks ng school sa Abra and probably also Vigan, but I cannot give you a statement unless may confirmation na from our field offices and regional offices. Although sa ngayon pa naman po, wala pa kaming reported injuries sa either DepEd staff, sa teaching personnel, or sa learners natin.
POA said Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte has already instructed them to work on funding the repair of schools damaged by the earthquake and previous typhoons.
We are currently looking into items in our budget na pwede po namin ma-realign para po magamit yung pondo doon sa mga repairs na kakailanganin ng school na schools na affected noong Typhoon Odette, Agaton, at siguro kahit yung nangyari today, no? Kung pwede nating maagapan kaagad. For the more major constructions, makikipag-ugnayan po ang Department of Education sa DPWH para po magawa ito.
As of yesterday, 5.6 million students have already enrolled since the enrollment started last Monday. DepEd is targeting to enroll more than 28.6 million students for the school year 2022 to 2023, which will open on August 22.
The general rule po is in-person classes po tayo. Although, of course, we have to make specific exceptions dun sa mga hindi talaga kaya. So ang plano po natin is that with this transition period from now actually till the opening of classes August 22 till October 31, titingnan po natin kung ano yung mga sitwasyon ng ating mga paaralan. Titingnan natin kung may mga schools na talagang based on their infrastructure, hindi tayo kayang mag-in-person classes. Doon po natin i-apply yung blended learning.
In Makati City, remedial classes were suspended following the tremor. Students were asked to go out of their classrooms and temporarily evacuate in an open space wearing hard hats, which are part of the emergency go bags of the city government to promote disaster preparedness. Makati Mayor Abby Binay has also ordered an inspection of the structural integrity of the school buildings. Mean Corvera reporting for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Foreign governments have offered prayers and help to the country after a strong quake jolted parts of Luzon, killing at least 5 people, injuring 60 and damaging various structures. The Chinese embassy in Manila says it is willing to help and reach out to the earthquake victims. Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Wang Xilian, said he was in the embassy when the tremor happened, which he described as very strong.
We need to assess what kind of damages or any casualties. We hope there will be no casualties, no damages. But in case there is, we will do our best to help.
In separate tweets, the Embassy of France in the Philippines and the Ambassador of Japan expressed their sympathy to residents affected by the quake in Abra and its nearby areas. The European Union delegation in the Philippines also expressed their thoughts and sympathy on Twitter. Up next, China strengthens its warning to U.S. about how Speaker Nancy Pelosi's planned Taiwan trip. In his first return to Washington, Trump hints at a 2024 presidential bid. And people in England urged to reduce water use amid the nation's driest conditions since 1976. Stay tuned for more stories around the globe when Mata ng Agila International returns.
Ang mga katagang Pinya, Husi, Inabel, Abaca, Yakan ay ilan lamang sa mga kilalang local o indigenous materials sa ating bansa. And these have been showcased in international fashion events through our local designers or craftsmen. How do we make more people wear local? What are the obstacles in making these fashionable pieces more accessible? And how does pop-up stores help in raising awareness on these unique pieces? We'll find out from our special guest, Miss Mons Romulo, the visionary behind Katutubo.
First of all, passion. You have to love what you're doing, but you have to also give the best quality.
Only here and open for business.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Ng Diyos Ama sa Kalangitan, ang kongregasyon at buong iglesyang kapatiran upang lumabong ang pagpapalaganap ng mga salita ng Diyos sa buong sangkatauhan. Binabati ko rin po ang mga kapatid sa Iglesia ni Cristo sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Naway manatili sa inyong puso ang paghahari ng Espiritu ng Diyos at kapangyarihan ng ating Panginoong Hesukristo. Mabuhay po kayo, Ka Eduardo Manalo. Mabuhay po ang lahat ng kapatid sa Iglesia ni Cristo. Mabuhay po ang buong Pilipinas. Mabuhay din po ang buong Public Attorney's Office. Maraming salamat po. Happy 108th anniversary para sa buong Iglesia ni Cristo.
You're still watching Mata ng Agila International. China warns that Washington will bear the consequences if U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visits Taiwan. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian told reporters that they are opposed to Pelosi's visit to the island. Democratic Taiwan lives under constant threat of being invaded by China, which views the self-ruled island as part of its territory to be seized by force if necessary.
The radical Supreme Court.
A possible visit by Nancy Pelosi, yet to be confirmed by the senior Democrat, has stirred alarm in President Joe Biden's administration, which fears the trip may cross red lines for China. It comes at an especially fraught time as President Xi Jinping, China's most powerful leader in decades, prepares to cement his rule later this year at a major party meeting.
我们已经多次表明坚决反对佩洛西众议长访台的严正立场。如果美方一意孤行，挑战中方底线，必将遭到坚决反制。由此引起的一切后果，完全由美方承担。下一个问题。
Beijing's saber-rattling has increased considerably since Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen took office in 2016, as she rejects its stance that the island is part of China. When asked to comment on Tuesday's drills, China's foreign ministry warned that the road to independence is a dead end.
走台独的路是死路一条。台湾 妄想在军事上对抗中国，就如同螳臂挡车，最终必将失败。
Beijing stepped up its warnings to Washington against a potential visit by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the island. While the U.S. does not have official diplomatic relations with Taiwan, it is bound by a treaty to provide the East Asian nation with arms to defend itself. Meanwhile, a delegation of Japanese lawmakers led by two former defense ministers arrived in Taiwan to discuss regional security issues with their Taiwanese counterparts and officials.
広くこの地域の安全保障環境について、意見交換をしたいと思っています。特にロシアのウクライナ侵攻という事態を踏まえて、この地域の安全保障環境、そしてそれぞれが果たす役割について、議論をし、知見を深めたいと思っております。
There is no news that the recent arrival of the Japanese delegation in Taiwan has a direct connection with the escalating ire between Beijing and Taipei.
French President Emmanuel Macron declared his country would support Africa's need for security as he embarked on a three-nation tour aimed at renewing France's relations with the continent. In a speech in the Cameroonian capital, Yaoundé, Macron says Russia's presence on the African continent is a concern.
Et donc, cette présence russe hybride, qui passe par la désinformation, par les milices, par du coup de nouvelles formes que j'ai du mal à qualifier de coopération, mais donc de complicité avec des pouvoirs politiques affaiblis, voire totalement illégitimes quand ce sont des juntes militaires, est une préoccupation. Et je pense que c'est d'abord une préoccupation pour le continent africain.
Macron promised France will not relinquish the security of the African continent, where a jihadist campaign in the Sahel is now shaking countries to the south. Across the region, thousands of people have been killed and more than 2 million have fled their homes. Macron also pledged French support for countries fighting jihadists in the Lake Chad region, where an older insurgency launched by Nigeria's Boko Haram is also raging. These include Cameroon, whose far north region, which reaches into the Lake Chad basin, has suffered repeated attacks.
The Kremlin vowed to hinder the work of Western media in Russia after a European court upheld a broadcast ban imposed on the Russian news channel RT France. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters Moscow will take similar measures of pressure on Western media that operate in their country. Peskov also said they will not let Western media work in Russia, describing the Kremlin's reaction to the ban as extremely negative. Essentially, RT has been blocked and cannot operate in Europe, Peskov said, adding that Europeans are trampling on their own ideals. As part of EU sanctions slapped on Moscow, the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg issued a judgment throwing out an appeal from state-owned outlet RT against the ban, which the EU imposed in March over accusations that the network spreads disinformation. Consistently accused of parroting Russian state propaganda, RT has been blocked in most Western countries since President Vladimir Putin sent troops to Ukraine. Launched in 2005 as Russia Today, the channel had grown its reach through broadcasts and websites in several languages, including English, French, Spanish, German, and Arabic.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced upcoming bilateral projects on a visit to Greece, including a power cable to provide Europe with cheaper renewable energy.
I believe we have also historical opportunities that we're going to finalize a lot of it today, linking the grid of electricity, which we can provide Greece and Southwest Europe through Greece with much cheaper renewable energy. And we're going to sign the MOU about that today. Also, we are working about hydrogen and how to turn Greece as a hub for Europe to hydrogen. That's a game changer for both of us.
It is an opportunity to reaffirm the strength of our strategic relationship. We will be signing important agreements, and we will have an opportunity to further discuss regional developments.
This is Prince Mohammed's first Europe trip since the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Khashoggi's killing and dismemberment by Saudi agents in the kingdom's Istanbul consulate in October 2018 brought the powerful Crown Prince international condemnation. Biden's recent fist bump with the prince sealed his retreat from a presidential campaign pledge to turn the kingdom into a pariah over the Khashoggi affair, as well as wider human rights controversies. The prince is set to head to France later in the week.
Russian helicopters practice for a military parade that will be held on the occasion of Navy Day in Tartus, western Syria. Photos of Russian President Vladimir Putin are also seen across the region as preparations for the naval event come near. Russia's Naval Logistics Center is lodged in Tartus due to Moscow and Damascus signing an agreement on expanding the Russian war fleet's material and technical supply center in the said region. The agreement between the two countries allows the presence of 11 warships, including nuclear ones, for 49 years with the possibility of automatic renewal for 25 years. The agreement entered into effect on January 18, 2017, also stipulates that Russia will protect the supply center of its fleet and in the sea and in the air, and Syria will defend the center from land. Russia will celebrate Navy Day this last Sunday of July.
Donald Trump returns to Washington for the first time since leaving the White House 18 months ago, delivering a fiery speech sprinkled with strong hints he may run for president again in 2024.
I always say I ran the first time and I won. Then I ran a second time and I did much better. We got millions and millions more votes. And you know what? That's going to be a story for a long time. What a disgrace it was. But we may just have to do it again. We have to straighten out our country. We have to straighten out our country. We had it there. We had it.
The 76-year-old Trump stopped short of declaring his bid, but laid out what he believed should be the priorities of the next Republican president. He also took time to criticize the present administration of U.S. President Joe Biden.
But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 49 years. and where the stock market just finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy cost in its history.
Trump's 90-minute speech to the conservative America First Policy Institute resonated with many of the themes of his victorious 2016 campaign, including illegal immigration and crime.
And he stood pompously before my country.
A new Tunisian constitution has been approved by 96.4% of participants in a referendum, the head of the Easy Electoral Commission says, citing preliminary results. Just over 2.6 million out of the country's 9.3 million voters backed the new draft. Easy Chief Farouk Bouasker tells journalists in Tunis.
أيها السيدات والسادة ضيوفنا الكرام، بلغ العدد الجملي للمسجلين الاستفتاء 25 جويليا 9,278,541 ناخب يمثلون كل التونسيين والتونسيات الذين تتوفر فيهم صفة الناخب والذين أن الهيئة العليا المستقلة للانتخابات تصرح بقبول مشروع نص الدستور الجديد للجمهورية التونسية المعروض على الاستفتاء طبقا للفصل 117 من القانون الأساسي.
The new charter will enshrine sweeping powers in the office of President Kais Saied.
As England is experiencing its driest weather conditions since 1976, its residents are being urged to reduce their water usage. In the UK, Ashley Espiritu reports.
People in England were urged Tuesday to use water wisely to protect supplies and the government after the Met Office said the previous 8 months had been among the driest on record. The advice from the Environment Agency came after it convened a national drought group comprising senior decision makers from the agency, government, water companies, and other interested parties to discuss the current conditions. England and parts of Wales are severely parched following months of record low rainfall and unprecedented temperatures in recent weeks. A punishing heat wave that swept Western Europe last week pushed temperatures in Britain over 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, for the first time ever. Earlier, the Met Office said its statistics for November to July for England and Wales showed it was the driest period apart from a record spell in 1976. Most of England was moved into prolonged dry weather status, the Environment Agency said, meaning it is now taking precautionary actions to mitigate impacts as hydrological conditions deteriorate. Stuart Colville, Director of Policy at Water UK, said water companies have detailed plans in place to manage water resources for customers and the environment, and are doing everything that they can. As we continue to see extremely high demand, we are urging everyone to carefully consider the amount they are using given the unprecedented conditions. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, I'm Ashley Espiritu from Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Next on Mata ng Agila International, President Marcos greets the Iglesia ni Cristo on its 108th anniversary of establishment. Canadian Parliamentary Secretary congratulates the Iglesia ni Cristo. And July 27 declared as Iglesia ni Cristo Day throughout California's San Mateo County. Find out the details later when we return.
Binabati ko ang Iglesia ni Cristo sa pagdiriwang ng inyong ika-108 anibersaryo. Ito ay mahalagang okasyon at kami ay nagpapasalamat sa inyong napakaraming kontribusyon para sa bayan. Sa loob ng mahigit isang siglo, kayo ay naging bahagi na ng kasaysayan ng Pilipinas at ramdam namin ang inyong ambag sa adikain pagbutihin ang mahal nating bansa. Panalangin ko ang tuloy-tuloy na pagsigla ng inyong kapatiran at naway patuloy ninyong gabayan ang sambayanan patungo sa iisa nating hangarin, ang magkaisa. Umaasa ako na patuloy kayong maging katuwang ng pamahalaan sa pagkamit ng magandang kinabukasan para sa mga Pilipino. Muli, maraming salamat at maligayang anibersaryo sa Iglesia ni Cristo.
Kami po'y bumabati sa lahat ng mga kaanib sa Iglesia ni Cristo ng Happy 108th Anniversary po!
God bless po sa ating lahat at magbuhay po tayong lahat.
This portion is brought to you by Robic Builders, Quezon City Motor Vehicle Inspection Center.
Now welcome you back to Mata ng Agila International. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has extended his personal greetings on the occasion of Iglesia ni Cristo's 108th anniversary today, July 27. In a video message, President Marcos thanked the church for its contributions to nation building and for supporting the government in prospering peace and unity, not only in the Philippines but around the world. The chief executive said that in the past century, the Iglesia ni Cristo became an integral part of the country's history.
Binabati ko ang Iglesia ni Cristo sa pagdiriwang ng inyong ika-108 anibersaryo. Ito ay mahalagang okasyon at kami ay nagpapasalamat sa inyong napakaraming kontribusyon para sa bayan. Sa loob ng mahigit isang siglo, kayo ay naging bahagi na ng kasaysayan ng Pilipinas at ramdam namin ang inyong ambag sa adikain pagbutihin ang mahal nating bansa. Panalangin ko ang tuloy-tuloy na pagsigla ng inyong kapatiran at naway patuloy ninyong gabayan ang sambayanan patungo sa iisa nating hangarin, ang magkaisa. Umaasa ako na patuloy kayong maging katuwang ng pamahalaan sa pagkamit ng magandang kinabukasan para sa mga Pilipino. Muli, maraming salamat at maligayang anibersaryo sa Iglesia ni Cristo.
The Senate has passed a resolution in recognition of the Iglesia ni Cristo's 108th anniversary today, July 27. In Senate Resolution number 66, the senators acknowledge Iglesia ni Cristo's contribution to the Filipino nation and the world and commend the leadership of its executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. The lawmakers recognize that aside from propagating its teachings, INC extends its help to people in need in times of calamity and other crises through its Ligap sa Mamamayan or Aid to Humanity program. The senators also noted the efforts of the Church of Christ to provide assistance to communities through its livelihood and housing projects for victims of the Mount Pinatubo eruption, Super Typhoon Yolanda, and other calamities here and around the world.
This is not just 108 years of Iglesia ni Cristo's faith, shared by millions of Filipinos across the globe. This is also 108 years of the Iglesia ni Cristo's role as one of our partners in nation building, Your Honors. Kaya kinikilala natin ang araw na ito bilang Special National Working Holiday sa ilalim ng Republic Act 9645. Nagpapasalamat po tayo sa Iglesia ni Cristo sa higit isang siglo nilang pagbibigay ng tulong sa mga kapatid natin nangangailangan. kahit ano pang reliyon. In particular, we commend the INC's Lingap sa Mamamayan Outreach Program and the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation for providing vital assistance in times of crisis. We also commend the UNLAD initiative, or the Unified Livelihood and Development Initiatives, which provides livelihood training and opportunities in garment and food processing factories. This reminds me of what I always say about cooperatives, that the best way to uplift our people is to help them help themselves.
Along with state officials, Hawaii Governor David Ige expressed his congratulations and thanks to the Iglesia ni Cristo on its 108th anniversary and 54th anniversary in the West. Hawaii is where the church started its first mission outside of the Philippines. For the details, here's our Honolulu correspondent Eliza Corpus Tiangsing.
In commemoration of the Iglesia ni Cristo Church of Christ celebrating the 108th anniversary of establishment, today in Hawaii at the state capitol, Governor David Ige recognizes the Iglesia ni Cristo during this momentous occasion. The strong foothold of the Iglesia ni Cristo is evident here on the islands, especially since Hawaii is where the Iglesia ni Cristo extended their first mission outside of the Philippines. To mark this milestone, the Executive Minister of the Iglesia ni Cristo, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, sent delegates on behalf of the church. Brother Voltaire Tamison and Brother Eduardo Javier accepted the honorary certificate from Governor David Ige, expressing his congratulations and gratitude to the entire Iglesia ni Cristo on its 108th anniversary and 54th anniversary in the West.
You have been so dedicated. You have been very integral to the growth of your community. And I just want to commend you for your efforts, for your humanitarian outreach, and of course, it reflects on the leadership.
This day is very important to us, memorable to each one of us, because the people here, especially the people of the government, recognize the importance and the impact of the Iglesia ni Cristo in Hawaii, particularly here in Honolulu.
Senator Bennett Misalucha also extended her greetings to the Executive Minister of the Iglesia ni Cristo, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo.
I also want to provide and give my special aloha to Brother Manalo for all his love for and support of the people of Hawaii.
The honorary certificate expresses through the current leadership of Executive Minister Eduardo V. Manalo, the Iglesia ni Cristo remains a strong and active community partner, participating in city and statewide events, as well as offering encouragement, care, and support for the people of Hawaii. Liza Tiangsing for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Meanwhile, Canada's Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, Honorable Greg Fergus, congratulates the Iglesia ni Cristo on its 108th anniversary and its 50th year in their country. Fergus mentions the church's on-the-ground involvement in helping poor communities. He says it speaks of hope, love, charity, and fellowship among humans.
I think by having the Iglesia ni Cristo being involved on the ground, helping people out, especially people in need, to me is a great way of just spreading the message of community, of love, of hope, of charity, and of fellowship between all humans. So I think it's a wonderful message, and to do that in a faith-based way, I think has spoken very well for the church over the last 50 years here in Canada, 108 years around the world. I'm not certain if I could improve on a message especially to Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, and the work that he has been doing and coordinating along with the thousands upon thousands of the church members and the communities across around the world and across our great country. I can't, I think, add anything to that, because the work that you're doing, especially for our brothers and sisters who were in need during COVID, really, frankly, it's me who's inspired by that kind of work. And I think all Canadians, to turn their attention to it, they would be very inspired by what's been happening. The only thing I could ask, really, is please continue doing your good work. Continue doing the work that helps people out, that makes them feel part of a community.
Milpitas City Mayor Rich Tran proclaims July 27 as Iglesia ni Cristo Day. In Northwest California, Michelle Peredo files this report.
Iglesia ni Cristo is envisioned as a church that is in perfect unity of faith and practice, where every member is devoted to a life of holiness founded on true Christian teachings. It is for everyone who will embrace the true faith regardless of race, nationality, cultural background, social standing, economic status, and educational attainment. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Rich Tran, on behalf of the city of Milpitas, do hereby proclaim July 27th, Iglesia ni Cristo Day.
As outreach activities such as Aid to Humanity events are constantly being conducted by the Church of Christ, including throughout the Ecclesiastical District of Northwest California, communities and civic leaders are witness to the positive impact of the Church of Christ. As July 27th approaches and the Church of Christ prepares to commemorate its 108th anniversary, it was today in Milpitas, California, where a momentous event took place, and the mayor declared July 27th as Iglesia ni Cristo Day. Community leaders, Church of Christ members, and ministers along with their families all came together at Milpitas City Hall to witness this momentous occasion declared by the mayor, Rich Tran. And he attests to the efforts of the Church of Christ that has led up to today's declaration.
And I think as people and God's children, we need His Word to guide us and His power to allow for us to thrive. I want to give a special, just amazing congratulations and celebratory anniversary, 108 years for the church. Everybody's smiling, having a great time with the Lord in their heart. I want to give a special shout out to the executive minister, as Brother Eduardo. God bless.
This proclamation indeed is a very memorable one to all of us, because this is one of the fulfillment of what was stated in the Holy Scriptures in Isaiah 59:19, that the people in the West will respect the name of the Lord. And since the people of the government are recognizing the efforts being done by the Iglesia ni Cristo, the impact of the Iglesia ni Cristo in their community, we are so happy, and we are bringing back the glory to our Lord God. The truth of the matter is, are not only being done here in Milpitas.
The city of Milpitas are happy about what we're doing in helping the community of this town or city. We are helping the community to develop, and most especially to share our faith to our fellow man here.
And as this proclamation serves as further inspiration for Church of Christ members here in Northwest California to fulfill God's work, they continue to strive towards further victories through the leadership of the Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Benalo.
Through the mandate of our Executive Minister, the Iglesia ni Cristo continues to conduct evangelical missions. The Iglesia ni Cristo also, during the time of a pandemic, continues to conduct our aid to humanity. So this is to help the people who are in need, whether they are members of the church or they are not members of the Iglesia ni Cristo. As long as they are in need, the Iglesia ni Cristo is always there to extend its help. Whenever there is a calamity, especially during the time of pandemic, it was him who is giving the instructions, not just to the Philippines, but even outside the Philippines, primarily here in the United States of America. When he found out that people are in dire need,
We return to the Lord our God all the glory and honor and the success of the church. And also we thank the church administration for looking after the entire church, leading the entire church for 108 years in victorious years of the church. We are very proud to receive the award.
Because for us, members of the Iglesia ni Cristo, we firmly believe that this is indeed a fulfillment of the promises of God to the Church of Christ.
A truly blessed day in commemoration of the Church's 108th anniversary. It is the work of God through Church of Christ members that more will continue to learn about the true faith in this part of the world. Michelle Peredo for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
The Canadian capital, Ottawa, declares July 27, 2022 as Felix Y. Manalo Foundation Day. The FYM Foundation is the Iglesia Ni Cristo's non-stock, non-profit charitable arm. It has conducted massive humanitarian projects in the city of Ottawa. Over the years, the foundation has made a positive impact on the communities of Ottawa through significant relief operations, charitable events or charitable projects, and community services benefiting the challenged communities and those affected by different calamities. Deputy Mayor Laura Dudas presented the proclamation to the representative of the foundation. Dudas says the church's works, which include outreach and rescue missions, are imperative and make such a difference or a big difference in communities there.
The work done by the foundation, particularly across Canada, 50 years strong, I understand 108 years internationally, but right here in Ottawa is imperative to making sure that the basic needs of those who need it the most are being met. Most recently, the work that was done after a significant storm and a power outage to help our community get back on its feet really did make such a difference in our tourism and selfless acts that the foundation has orchestrated and been part of. I want to congratulate the executive minister on having started this. I know once again that this is about selflessness and it's not always about receiving those accolades, but the work that is done by the foundation makes such a difference to people. It changes lives, and I do want the volunteers to know that feeling of satisfaction that they receive from giving back, that just reverberates into the community and it influences and inspires others to do the same, regardless of their following. So I want to thank them profusely for everything they do. I want to thank the executive minister for having started and really been the inspiration for this, and really to encourage others to take up that mantle and to volunteer and to give back.
July 27 is also proclaimed Iglesia Ni Cristo Day throughout the county of San Mateo in California. Michelle Peredo reports.
The members of the church will take care of the
Iglesia Ni Cristo has really been a fabric in our community. This church has an incredible reputation, and this reputation is predicated on one word that I strive to live by each day, and that's service. This particular group has really just led in front of making sure that we leave no one behind, whether it's through faith or whether it's through service and helping people. As the supervisor, I'm just humbled to give you this award. Again, it's Iglesia Ni Cristo Day here in the county of San Mateo. Congratulations.
As the Church of Christ prepares to commemorate its 108th anniversary, it was today in Burlingame, California, where a momentous event took place as David Canepa, the president of the Board of Supervisors of San Mateo County, declared July 27th as Iglesia Ni Cristo Day. Church of Christ members and ministers, along with their families, all came together at the Iglesia Ni Cristo U.S. West office to witness this momentous occasion. And he attests to the efforts of the Church of Christ that has led up to today's declaration, such as outreach activities like the Aid to Humanity events that are constantly being conducted throughout the ecclesiastical district of Northwest California.
The County of San Mateo recognizes what the Church of Christ has done, and to really have impact, whether it's through faith or whether it's through service. Helping people is just really critical in us moving forward as a society. The history of what this church means to the Daly City community, San Mateo County community, and the state of California. We've known their work, talking about since the 1960s.
A proclamation like this one is not something new to us, especially this month. We went to Hawaii to receive the proclamation given by the governor of Hawaii, Governor Ige.
Now, therefore, I, Mayor Rich Tran, on behalf of the city of Milpitas, do hereby proclaim July 27th, Iglesia ni Cristo Day.
And then just a couple of days ago, we went to Ottawa to first receive a proclamation from the city mayor of Ottawa, Jim Watson. And then a couple of hours, we went to Parliament because we have received a congratulatory letter coming from the parliamentary secretary of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Greg Pergus. This proclamation, of course, gives us happiness because we have seen that the people, especially the people of the government, have recognized the efforts and the services being done by the members of the Iglesia ni Cristo. Proclamations such as this one that we have received today is not so surprising to us because this is indeed the fulfillment of what was stated in the Holy Scriptures. It says in Isaiah 59:19 that the people from the West will respect the name of the Lord. That's why our executive minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, is guided by the Lord God. He is always there looking on the welfare, not just by the members of the church, but also non-members of the church.
And as this proclamation serves as further inspiration for Church of Christ members here in Northwest California to fulfill God's work, they continue to strive towards further victories through the leadership of the Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo.
Our executive minister do have a big heart, not only to the members of the church, but also to the non-members of the church. They're always taking into consideration not just the spiritual side. He is also dealing with the material needs of the people, especially those who are being affected by the calamities.
Greetings, Brother Eduardo Manalo, here in our Western office, in the great city of Burlingame. I'm County Supervisor David Canepa. I just want to tell you, we've just declared it, Iglesia in Cristo Day on July 27th. It's because of your great work and because of the church's great work that we're here to celebrate. Hope you enjoy this resolution.
Truly blessed day in commemoration of the Church's 108th anniversary. It is the work of God through Church of Christ members that more will continue to learn about the true faith in this part of the world. Michelle Peredo for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Coming up, various landmarks here and abroad illuminated in Iglesia ni Cristo colors. These and more stories when Mata ng Agila.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Narito po ang inyong abang lingkod, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Ako po ay taos-pusong bumabati sa lahat ng ating mga kapatid, hindi lamang dito sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo, sa pagsapit ng ika-108 taong anibersaryo ng Iglesia ni Cristo. Sa pangunguna po ng tagapamahalang pangkalahatan na si kapatid na Eduardo V. Manalo. Ako po ay buhay na saksi sa matagumpay na paglaganap ng Iglesia sa iba't ibang bansa. Dalangin ko po ay patuloy pa kayong pagpalain ng ating may kapal para maipagpatuloy niyo pa ang magagandang proyekto at paglinga. Hindi lamang sa mga kaanib sa loob ng Iglesia, kundi sa ating sambayanang Pilipino. Muli po, maligayang bati sa inyong lahat. Sama-sama po tayong magpasalamat sa ating dakilang may kapal. Maraming salamat po.
This portion is brought to you by Taiwan Industrial Sales.
In commemoration of Iglesia ni Cristo's 108th anniversary, monuments and landmarks in Canada were illuminated. Take a look. In Edmonton, Canada, a high-level bridge was lighted in green, white, and red, the colors associated with the Church of Christ. The same thing happened at the TELUS Spark Science Centre in Calgary and the new Westminster City Hall in British Columbia. Additionally, colors of green, white, and red lighted up the Old Port Ferris wheel in Ottawa, along with the Ottawa sign. The Niagara Falls in Ontario, Canada were also seen lighting up for the Iglesia ni Cristo anniversary. Here in the Philippines, the Philippine Arena was illuminated in green, white, and red. And motorists plying Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City witnessed the majestic lights that illuminate the Templo Central of Iglesia ni Cristo.
What historical events happened on this day? Let's take a look. On July 27, 1914, Austrian Foreign Minister Leopold von Berchtold requested Emperor Franz Joseph to sign a declaration of war against Serbia. At the same moment, news arrived of an exchange of fire between Austrian and Serbian units on the Serbian border, which was immediately communicated to Franz Joseph. Under the impression that there had been a Serbian act of aggression, he signed the declaration of war that very same day, the 27th of July, including a reference to the exchange of fire that was supposed to have taken place. The wheels of what is now known as the Great War or the First World War started to turn. On the same day, July 27, 1914, the Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ was registered with the Philippine government. On its 10th or 108th anniversary today, the Church of Christ is now established in 162 countries and territories.
Before we end tonight's broadcast, of course, here's a quote, this time from former U.S. President Bill Clinton. "We cannot build our own future without helping others to build theirs." We're all in this together. And that's a wrap for tonight's news. Catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I'm CJ Hero.
And I'm Nina Richie Alagaw Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.